Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack complex topics and give you clear, actionable insights. Today we're tackling something many of you have asked about, a real common frustration for English learners. How do you really improve your listening skills in English? You know that feeling, right? You can follow, say, an online lesson pretty well, but then you try a movie, or you're in a real conversation with native speakers, and bam, it's just this wall of sound. You can't quite catch it. That moment where you just lose the thread, it's tough. But today we want to give you some tools to help you break through that.
Absolutely. It's such a crucial skill. I mean, language acquisition research, it always points back to listening. It's really the main way your brain gets used to the sound, the rhythm, the patterns of English. And honestly, without solid listening skills, having those real spontaneous conversations you want, it's just much, much harder. So today, we'll lay out some practical, effective strategies, things that actually work with how your brain learns.
Okay, great. So let's start with the challenge itself, because I think how we listen, or how we try to listen, is a big part of the problem. We often hear students say they try to understand every single word. Why is that such a bad idea?
Oh, it's a huge trap, a really common one. Trying to grab every word, it's like imagine trying to see a whole forest by staring at one leaf. You miss the big picture entirely, you get lost really fast, you fall behind, and then, well, you just feel like giving up. And the thing is, even native speakers don't catch every single word, not consciously anyway. Their brains are just way more efficient at filtering.
Right. So if perfect understanding, word for word, isn't the target, what should we be aiming for instead? How do we train our ears differently?
Okay, this brings us to a key idea. Focusing on the gist, the overall meaning. The gist isn't just some vague idea, though. It's about your brain zeroing in on the core message. It uses patterns, context. It filters out the noise, basically. It's how you can follow a chat in a noisy cafe, right? You're not hearing perfectly, but you get the main points. Your brain pieces it together.
Okay, getting the gist makes sense. But how do we do that practically? If we're letting go of needing every word, what do we tune into instead? Our sources mentioned sentence stress.
Exactly. English is what we call a stress-timed language. This means certain words naturally get more emphasis. Usually, these are the important ones: nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, the words carrying the core information. These stressed words, they're like signposts pointing you towards the gist. If you tune into those, you're kind of bypassing the less important stuff, the unstressed words like prepositions or pronouns, and getting straight to the main message. Think about, I live in a town near London. Hear that rhythm. Live, town, London. Those are your anchors.
That's interesting. And changing the stress changes the focus, right?
Yeah.
If you said, I live in a town near London.
Precisely. Now the emphasis is on near. Maybe someone thought you lived far away, so you stress near to correct them or highlight that specific point. The other words might almost fade a bit. Being able to pick up on that shift in stress, that's a powerful comprehension skill. It's not just words, it's the music of the language.
Okay, this is helpful. Let's get really practical now. We found a great 5-step plan from one expert source that seems to pull a lot of this together. Step 1 is something we've probably all heard, but maybe haven't appreciated why it's so important. Find material you're genuinely interested in. Why does this matter so much cognitively?
Yeah, it's more than just staying motivated, though. That helps too. The thing is, your brain already has like a whole storage system for topics you love, right? Full of ideas and words in your native language. When you listen to English stuff about those same topics, your brain isn't starting from zero. It's basically just attaching new English labels to concepts it already understands really well. It makes the connections much faster. One source mentions students who were architects, right? Their general English wasn't amazing, but they could talk about complex building issues because they knew the concepts inside out. That existing knowledge gave them a massive advantage.
That makes total sense. Using what you already know. Okay, so you've got your interesting podcast or video. Step 2, listen and mark timestamps. So just listen through once and quickly note down the times where you get lost or confused.
Exactly. Just jot down the time. The key here is not to stop. Don't interrupt the flow. If you stop every time you miss something to write it down or look it up, you'll get bogged down, feel overwhelmed, and probably won't even finish listening. This way, you just mark the spot and keep going. You maintain that listening momentum.
Okay, timestamps noted. What's next? How do we tackle those tricky spots?
Right. Step 3. Re-listen to timestamps and guess. Go back only to those specific moments you marked. Listen to just that short bit again, maybe a couple of times. And then take a guess. What do you think is being said? Even if you're wrong, the act of guessing is really good practice for your brain. Focusing on these little chunks makes it way less frustrating than trying to decipher a whole long section you didn't get. Think about common expressions. Maybe you hear on cloud nine. You might not know it, but if the person sounds happy, talking about good news, you can probably guess it means really happy.
Yeah, or like prerequisite. You might hear that talking about courses.
Right, and you guess it means something you have to do before something else.
Or back in the day, if the topic shifts to childhood.
You can probably guess it means a long time ago.
Exactly.
Other examples might be all-nighter, studying all night, or feeling zonked, super tired. Even things like spitfire for an angry person, or talk back, meaning reply rudely. Context and a little guessing go a long way.
Okay, guessing is done. Then comes step 4, figure out the context. This means listening to the bits just before and just after the confusing part, and thinking about the overall topic too.
Yes, context is king. Those surrounding sentences often give you the clues you need, like your back in the day example. If they were talking about new phones, then suddenly switch to talking about playing outside as kids right around that phrase. Your brain connects those dots. It confirms your guess, or helps you understand if your guess was off. It pieces the whole picture together.
And the final step in this plan, step 5. Listen one more time for solidification. Go back and listen to the whole thing again from start to finish.
This last listen through really helps cement everything. You'll notice you understand much more now. It reinforces what you figured out, helps you hear the connections you missed before, and honestly, it really boosts your confidence. You feel the improvement. It makes listening feel less like a passive thing and more like active problem solving.
Yeah. I like that, active problem solving. So this 5-step plan gives a great framework. But are there other sort of broader habits or strategies we should be thinking about?
Definitely. One important thing is finding the right balance between repetition and novelty. Listening to something a few times? Great. Your brain picks up more details each time. But listen to the exact same thing 10 times in a row. Your brain might start tuning out. It needs fresh input too. So listen a few times, extract what you can, then move on to something new. Keep it interesting for your brain.
That makes sense. Keep it fresh. And what about fitting it into our busy lives? That's always a challenge.
Ah, yes. This is where integrating listening into your daily routine becomes super powerful. Think about all that hidden time you have. Commuting, washing dishes, exercising, waiting for an appointment. Use that time. Pop in some earbuds and listen to English. The great thing is it requires basically 0 extra time because you're already doing something else. It makes practice consistent and sustainable.
Yeah, much easier than trying to schedule a whole hour just to watch a movie where maybe only half of it is useful listening practice anyway.
Exactly. Movies are fun, but for pure listening input per minute, podcasts or audio articles during those hidden times can be much more efficient.
And one expert actually suggests aiming for about 1 hour of English listening a day. That sounds like a lot.
But you can break it up. It doesn't have to be all at once. 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It adds up. Maybe 20 minutes on the bus, 15 while making dinner, 25 during a workout. It's doable.
And the payoff. They say you'll notice real improvement in weeks if you're consistent.
Consistency is definitely key. Now, what about tools like subtitles? Helpful or hurtful?
Good question. The advice seems to be use them strategically, but don't rely on them too much.
Right. If you always have subtitles on, you tend to just read. You're not really training your ear to catch the rhythm, the stress, the gist. So try limiting them or even turning them off sometimes, especially for material you're listening to repeatedly. Force your ears to do the work.
So if subtitles are off, how can we actively work on catching things?
Dictation is a really good exercise, especially for shorter clips. Listen to a sentence or two. Write down the main stressed words you hear. Listen again. Try to fill in more words. Listen again. Then check against a transcript. It really trains your ear to pick out those key sounds. And for really tough material, try combining listening with reading. Read the text first. Look up words you don't know. Then listen to the audio. Then maybe listen while reading along. This back and forth helps turn confusing sounds into something your brain recognizes and understands.
Okay, great tips. So let's quickly recap. We've talked about forgetting perfection, focusing on the gist and sentence stress instead. We went through the practical 5-step plan. Find interesting stuff, mark timestamps, guess the tricky bits, use context, and listen again to solidify. And we added layers like balancing repetition and novelty, fitting practice into your daily routine using hidden time, aiming for consistency, maybe an hour a day broken up, and using tools like subtitles and dictation smartly, plus combining reading and listening.
Exactly. And the big takeaway, I think, is that improving listening is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes patience. You have to accept imperfection. You won't understand everything. Your mind will wander sometimes. That's totally normal. Just keep exposing yourself consistently to the language in ways that are active and ideally enjoyable. Trust that your brain is learning even when it doesn't feel like it.
That's a really important point. Patience and trusting the process.
Mm.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. Next time you're listening to anything, maybe a song, a conversation happening nearby, even just the sounds of your environment, try to go beyond just hearing. Really listen. Can you pick up subtle shifts in tone or stress? Can you notice patterns? What about the unstressed bits you usually ignore? How might engaging your ears on that deeper level change not just your English listening, but maybe even how you perceive the whole world around you?